Dynamite download.
AEW 2020, John Silver.
Special event, as you can see, SPD.
For a splashing good time. January recruitment month for them.
I come along, I come along in the ring.
I mean, I would not want to hear anything. I would not want to
Welcome to Dynamite Download.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dynamite Download. We are your home for all positive coverage on all elite wrestling, and boy, oh boy, is it going to be easy tonight to be positive. What a show, SPD.
Wow,
My
man.
goodness.
I caught myself standing up and clapping and fist pumping at the TV multiple times tonight because it opened with a bang, man. I mean, like I tweeted out, we saw 4 tables break in the first 40 minutes. I mean, just segment after segment to kick things off was just outstanding. And it's like how much is going on. It was so fast paced and so fun to watch. And it was just like, I didn't want it to end, and I just wanted to keep watching. I wish we could have just transitioned right into Revolution, man.
No kidding. And what a go-home show for the pay-per-view. I mean, I know that I'm not alone. This felt like a pay-per-view in and of itself. This show was action-packed, had so much going on. What a great variety that AEW was able to offer tonight. This is one of the things that I loved, and I know that I'm not alone. I saw the internet community buzzing with it too, man. This show, they had like from J.J. Dillon and Tully. You had legends like that. You had a debuting new star and Jade. Great in-ring action with when you get to see teams like FTR and Jurassic Express go. I mean, from top to bottom, you have legends in the business like Paul White coming in. You have brand new stars being made like Jade. And it just was a phenomenal show. And it gave wrestling fans anything that you could possibly ask for. This show gave it. It was just one of those shows that I think people are going to be appreciative of when we look back on AEW's, this calendar year in 2021. This is a blueprint on how to get people hyped for a pay-per-view. They absolutely killed it. Hilarious segments. There's a lot of comedy in this show. There's a lot of laughs, a lot of moments that had my jaw just dropping. You said it yourself, jumping off the couch, just screaming, man. This show was phenomenal. Let's dive right in, brother. And just like AEW did, I thought they did an awesome job of getting eyes on the show right away, giving the people what they want, and giving us that Jade Cargill and Shaq match against Red Velvet and Cody. And, there was a lot of people who were wondering how that was going to turn out. I have to say, I would be shocked to hear anybody dog that match. I thought that was absolutely better than anybody could have asked for. Really a home run by all competitors involved. Both sides of that match really showed out. And then, I'll transition right into it because anytime I get to see Pac on the show, I'm geeked out about it. Pac and Phoenix, although that match was quick, they're not, they made quick work of John Skyler and D3, which, hey, honestly, when you have 2 of the best wrestlers on the entire planet on one side, they should be making quick work of a lot of people. So that match, that was a great start to the show. Just boom, boom, man. Action, brother.
When they announced the Pac and Phoenix, we knew that it was just going to be fun to watch. It was short and sweet, but like you said, those 2 as a combo should beat any tag team on the planet. I mean, I'm such huge Lucha Brothers fans, but if you throw in Pac, who is right there with them. The Death Triangle is an unbeatable team, in my opinion. So it was great. And then we had the highly anticipated return of Tully Blanchard on TV for, he hasn't been on TV in 30 years with FTR and defeating Jurassic Express. Ultimately, I don't know if this is going to end the feud or not, but we can dive deep into that. But that was come out of victory by FTR and Tully Blanchard with a surprise guest helping, maybe completing the new 4 horsemen.
I'm wearing the shirt with pride tonight because what an awesome the FTR is leaving everybody talking after that one and to have that and then transition into the women's tournament finals was something else, man. I mean, this show again, just match after match, moment after moment. There was so much on the line tonight. So we had Ryo Mizunami versus Nyla Rose in the finals. And although SPD was firmly behind Team USA, Japan actually came out on top on this tournament. So we're gonna have to jump into that one and talk quite a bit about what happened there.
Right.
And yeah,
the next was our, two up and coming stars of AEW, the future of AEW. You have Max Caster, half of the Acclaimed, which we're very high on. I mean, you have made me into an Acclaimed fan
I've been
for
telling
sure.
you, man. Yep.
Max Caster spitting some fire for sure against 10 and coming out with a victory over 10, which we all didn't see coming, but it made sense all in the end. Matt Hardy's master plan with a little help of the dirtbag Jack Evans to assist Max Caster over 10.
Well, and speaking of Big Money Matt, he was involved in the main event. So, again, this show just flowed very naturally, one match into the other. And Matt Hardy and Mark Queen did come up a little short in that main event, but I have a feeling that Matt has a couple more tricks up his sleeve, as we saw in that match with 10 and Caster. Big Money Matt's always thinking, always scheming. The carny that he is. That was a great way to end the show too. I mean, great showcase for the tag team match too, with the chaos that happened at the end. But let's dive right in, brother. Let's jump into that first match because, when we were debating on who would be the top star of our night, which is one of the favorite things that I look forward to whenever we have this show, I had a very hard time not picking Jade just because, man, this felt like a star-making moment for that woman. She looks like $1 million. A lot of people were questioning whether or not she would be able to show out in the ring because obviously when it comes to all the other boxes, she checks them. I mean, the woman is beautiful. She's intelligent. She's got the look. She's got the strength. She's got the confidence, the charisma. She's got it all. And the only thing we were waiting for was to see if she could do it. She could hang in the ring. And that strength, that charisma, and that knowledge, you could tell she knows how to work a match. I thought that she did a great job in that one. Obviously, her and Shaq were given a big advantage in the sense that they were working with two incredible pros. Cody is the benchmark in AEW. That guy can have a great match with my microphone if he wanted to. That dude is that good. And we've talked with Thunder Rosa in the past, and she said, Dynamite Download team, you guys need to keep an eye out on Red Velvet. That woman gets an opportunity, she's going to shine. It's obvious that Red Velvet is a pro. Really, really solid, smooth match. And was incredibly impressive with Shaq starting it off against Cody.
I was a little surprised by that too, but as it went on, man, from the start of this, I loved the book. At first, I wanted this to be the main event, but it was an absolutely banging way to start the show, and it was perfect way to start the show. I loved everyone's ring entrance. I was intimidated when I saw Jade and Shaq, doing the double bicep that I just put up, together. Man, that is a very intimidating image right there. Yeah. And Red Velvet's ring gear and entrance was pretty fire too, man. It made her look like a star. But Shaq, you don't realize how big he is until you really see him towering over someone else. I saw a photo of him in the Murder Hawk backstage, and Murder Hawk is a big man, but Shaq is just not only tall, but he's wide.
He's just
Cody, he put on 13 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks, and he's looking big, as they said a few months ago. But Shaq just completely towered over him, and he was outstanding, man. Shaq, I don't think there has been a guest celebrity who hasn't been in the ring that has performed better than him. For their first match. Yep. For someone his size, it's not easy to do certain things, but for him to just power bomb Cody, the chops and the footwork, and then take a massive bump at the end, man, he was a true professional. He was so prepared.
Yep.
He he lived up. I mean, he exceeded my expectations tenfold because I knew it would be a good match because he's with Cody, and Cody can sell, a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves,
Yep.
and is just a true professional. And I'm glad he was healthy enough, and his shoulder injury was not clearly it wasn't bothering him because he was able to pick up Shaq. But it was just so impressive for Shaq. But even more impressive was Jade, and she lived up to every little bit of hype that we've been hearing. We've been literally on pins and needles waiting to see her in the ring. We got a little glimpse of that at the Road 2. But she was just pure dominance. Granted, she's facing someone a little, smaller than her, but still Red Velvet was performing well. All four of these competitors look so great in this match. There isn't a loser on paper. I mean, on paper, yes, but in the ring, performance-wise, there's not a loser. Red Velvet hit that huge moonsault off the top rope, and she was doing some very impressive moves, and it was showing why she's undefeated in 2021 so far. Both competitors, Shaq and Jade, are the real deal. We have a star on our hands with Jade. She threw a mean spine buster, so we just throw her name in the mix of who throws the best spine buster in AEW. 10, watch out for Jade, man. She's coming for your spine buster.
She's nipping at your heels, yeah.
Sure. And same with FTR, man. They throw mean spine busters, so Jade did that as well. So, wow, I'm just a loss for words.
Well, with Red Velvet, I mean, too, man, like. She lifted up. She had Jade over her shoulders at one point. I mean, she had her lifted up off the ground. And Jade, Jade's gonna have. I think it's gonna be commonplace for Jade to be wrestling people who are smaller than her. Jade is a powerhouse. That woman is just built, shredded. So she's got it all, man. I think that there are certain things when you look at a competitor, you just wonder, all right, like we see it as fans. But are they going to be able to live up to those high expectations? And I feel like Jade more than delivered, in my opinion. I was very, very much impressed by the way that the match pacing went tonight, and her offense played to her strengths. I don't think that Jade was, she played it safe in the sense that, you saw a lot of power moves. You saw a lot of use of her size. And I think that was the smart play.
For sure.
I was particularly impressed by the commitment that Shaq had though tonight, and that I got to give that guy props because you got a guy like he could have easily stood on the apron. I personally thought that going into this match there was going to be a lot more Jade carrying the load for that team, and there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Shaq was committed. He was all in with AEW. If you're going to have a guest appearance like this, he set the bar. He's completely. I mean, that dude. He was all in. You could tell he was loving it. He enjoyed every moment of that. Like getting his hands on the Nightmare Family, throwing them around, taking that table bump.
That was a great segment too. I forgot about the whole, Austin Gunn and QT involved,
ripping them over the barricade.
He looked so strong with that too, man. I want to see him back in the ring, man. Sign him to a contract for sure.
I saw some people clamoring to see him. I mean, we got to see Paul White later on tonight, and seeing a little Paul White versus Big Show match in AEW. I'd be all for it. Let's see it. That'd be great.
Could. It was funny because my friend texted me at the end of it, and he goes, "I think Shaq's dead," because he went through that table so professionally and just sold it so great. And what the intriguing thing is, like, what was the storyline with the ambulance? Because he's randomly missing in the ambulance. I thought we would kind of tie it into something later in the show, or hopefully Revolution now. But I thought maybe there might have been a Paul White swerve of that. But who's to say? I don't know what the point of that was. Maybe hopefully we'll find out sooner than later.
There were a lot of cliffhangers on tonight's show, man. I mean, between this and then you wondering what Paul White announces with later on in the show. You get to see the teaser with the potential reuniting of the Horsemen. There was so many things in tonight's show where you gotta give AEW props, man. Even the most cynical fan, I don't know how you couldn't watch tonight's show and walk away saying like this company has something, man. It's no company's perfect, but man, they are building something special here. They know how to get us to. We got those breadcrumbs. They always got us wanting to come back for more. They're building a very loyal fan base for a reason. And I think that the main reason why is because they know how to play off of our emotions. This match had us geeking out. They had us excited for big moments, big spots, and big star power. And so without a question, this was an elite match for me. The whole, from top to bottom, going in, you and I both expected this was really going to be the showcase for Jade. This was going to be kind of a star-making moment for her. That certainly happened. AEW did a great job of establishing her power. She certainly had a lot of confidence. The charisma that she showed throughout the match. You and I talk about it, right? Like, there's that fine line where you want the showmanship, but you don't want it to feel like it detracts from the match. Like what we've seen that showmanship detract from some matches. This did not happen. Jade had confidence, but she still stayed focused. She was dialed in, and it was physical. And we got to give. I mean, we could go on and on about this match. Honestly, dude, like I could talk about Red Velvet, her spot off the top.
Let's talk about it again on Friday Night Fights.
Let's do it.
We need to let it digest a little because this was just a absolute home run, grand slam, sweep of the World Series, everything you can imagine out of a match, and it was just incredible, elite across the board. And I think unanimously AEW Nation would consider that an elite. And to follow that, like, how do you follow that? And, there was a good little segue that they did with two of our favorite stars. I mean, you are the number one Pac fanboy, and I'm the number one Phoenix fanboy. So
the Dukes of Dynamite were happy.
The Dukes of Dynamite are absolutely happy. And we were talking a little bit back and forth. We were like, who are they going to first? Is it going to be a squash, or maybe TH2 going to get thrown in there because they got pulled from that massive 10-man tag?
Yep.
But it served its purpose for sure. Phoenix and Pac are two of the best in the world, period. And, it was an amazing, quick, fast-paced, high-energy spots. They got to hit their spots. Pac threw in a massive 450 splash with a perfect hammer angle from the AEW team, which is awesome. And, I said earlier when we were reviewing the card, this team should be unstoppable. There really should be no one stopping them. I love the Young Bucks, but the combo of Pac and Phoenix, out of this world.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more, man. And when we did like some of our fantasy booking for 6 months down the road, you saw Crayfish had the Death Triangle with gold. All three members had it. And there's a reason. I mean, these guys, when it comes to exciting offense, this was such a great way to follow up that opening match, because you get to see, if those lingering fans that hang around, you and I both agree, Phoenix has been absolutely unmatched when it comes to how exciting his offense is, how like the pace of his matches. That dude pushes himself to limits that are just jaw dropping. So to keep those fans, that maybe tuned in to see Shaq, man, you get to showcase Pac and Phoenix right there. You're showing two of the best in the whole world. I mean, I don't speak in hyperbole when I say I truly do believe that Pac is in the top 5 of wrestlers on this planet. And I would listen to anybody who is willing to argue that Phoenix is right there with him. I mean, that dude is just absolutely phenomenal to watch. So yes, they made quick work of their opponents tonight. I would say, that's very fitting, given like both of those guys love to push the pace in their matches. When you get to put both those guys on the same, I mean, you couldn't breathe in that match. It's just like boom, 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 boom. You got stuff happening nonstop. Pac jumping over the top rope to the floor.
Phoenix with his kicks and then walking the top rope. I mean, those guys are just,
they make it look easy.
Like, we were like, where's Phoenix after that amazing match of the year match going to be thrown in the card, because he deserves to be in this card so much, and so does Pac. Yep. And so this totally makes sense. And then at the end of the Dynamite, you had them come out. They're the only ones that had their music played. So obviously, high hopes for them. But we'll dive into that another time. We're going to do a full Revolution card review on Friday Night Flights and Fights, and with our own predictions and all that. So we'll set off that on Friday. But this is an elite for sure. I mean, they could go in the ring with Larry Moe and Curly and still get elite just because they're going to hit those high spots for me. And I know it's an elite for you too, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much consistently going to when I get to see Pac in action. I and you throw him with Phoenix on the same team, man. I honestly, you said it, bro. They're going into that tag team battle royal. You know, I know that I love Santana and Ortiz. I love a lot of the teams that are getting showcased. The Dark Order's getting an opportunity in there. But you throw these two guys in that match, it's going to be tough to forecast anybody but them winning it. I think that those guys are absolutely incredible. Cannot wait to see this weekend what's in store for us. And you know it's going to be just completely chaotic, but a lot of fun. But, man, I don't know if any segment tonight got me as excited for the Revolution quite like the MJF and Jericho Town Hall. Although it wasn't a match, that was just absolutely perfection, just executed flawlessly. We shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the team here, you, me, Bonds, our lead writer, all of us recognize the greatness of the Inner Circle. I know that the Sammy saga had so many of us wondering when, and even we love ourselves some Wardlow here. We've wondered and forecasted, is Wardlow going to break away from MJF? There's been so many seeds of drama planted with the Inner Circle. But my goodness, SPD, I don't want them to break up because when they are together on screen, they are just pure gold. Just absolutely entertaining, absolutely hilarious. I'm going to be calling people turkey tits from now on. I just absolutely thought this was just absolutely hilarious. MJF stole the show for me in a lot of ways tonight, and he didn't have to do anything other than cut a promo. That's how good this kid is.
I need to rewatch this because there's so many one-liners that we all missed. Jericho was absolutely pure gold. MJF was absolutely pure gold. Santana even got some words in, which was absolutely spitting fire too. So this was a great showcase of the whole Inner Circle. And we've seen this in a debate and things like that, but it's done so well with these guys. They are just, we can't praise them enough on their mic work and their storytelling enough. And, the turkey tits, and we got to see Eric Bischoff, and they were just feeding off each other. I think these guys just are laughing their way back to the locker room afterwards and just how creative they can be, ribbing each other and ribbing everyone.
Oh, yeah.
As well as Matt Jackson was spitting pure fire, man. When he got the mic, he was spitting one of the most passionate promos that he was saying, and telling how MJF would be unemployed living in his parents' house, and then Jericho would be jerking the curtain at the Performance Center. So
yeah, it was a line.
I love how AEW and specifically the Young Bucks on BTE and other stuff, they really walk the line with the WWE, storyline and thing. As we saw in BTE, it was a hilarious opening
with the kids,
with the kids, and Matt Jackson showing how Big Show was chokeslamming him.
Remember, Dad, when you were a jobber?
Yeah, call him a jobber. Absolutely pure genius stuff right there. I absolutely love that. This promo turned into an absolute massive war, battle and mess, chaos for sure. But it was interesting, you saw who took the table shots. Both Santana and Ortiz took the table shots from the Young Bucks. So,
dude, you're always good with those little details about who walks through the curtains. Right? And that's a good point by you.
So I still hold strong to hoping that we get to see Santana Ortiz. I mean, there's so many. I mean, AEW, as you said, is built around tag teams. The tag team battle royal,
I love it.
Is going to, any single tag team could and should win that battle royal to get a title shot. Period. But we still think for the bigger picture, it would make so much more sense if Santana Ortiz, Proud and Powerful, win, then Jericho and MJF somehow win. But when Conrad or someone, I don't know if it was Conrad or someone asked about Sammy Guevara, that was
Conrad. That was Conrad. Yeah.
So it seemed like they were kind of planting that, but it was nice that they kind of addressed the elephant in the room and they addressed that and to bring light to it. But I really hope, the booking by SPD that we went down the rabbit hole on Friday was that MJF, Jericho win gold, Santana Ortiz #1 contenders. Then down the line, we keep holding Sammy Guevara, holding that.
I'm with you,
it's
bro.
a ticking time bomb, tick, 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 tick. Even if he's just, hinting at it in his vlog and different things like that. You're like, I'm coming for you. And then just at the least expected, costs them big time. And then the inner circle turmoil happens after that.
I think that video from Friday Night Fights and Flights, where you did the booking of the inner circle and the tag belts, I think that should be trending. I think that should be viral.
Let's start reposting it.
I know I'm biased, but it makes so much sense, and I think even tonight, like, played a lot of like little details, like you just talked about. Santana Ortiz taking the bump, right? Like, of course, MJF and Jericho didn't, right? It just keeps playing into those, like, like the inner circle is always, they're all here to cater to MJF and Jericho, and like that dissension could potentially just keep building. And I love that idea by you. I think it makes a lot of sense. Certainly would build the long-term storytelling, which AEW is clearly just committed to, man. I don't know about you, SPD, but that's one of my favorite things about this whole experience with you on this Dynamite, on the journey of Dynamite Download, is just going back and watching episodes of our show and stuff like that, and seeing like how we get pulled into these long-term stories, and how we as fans are rewarded for paying attention to the details, for being weekly watchers of the show. This is a great example, man. The stuff with the inner circle is just it is such great, compelling television. This was hilarious, but it played off of a lot of stuff that like you just talked about, the ongoing saga with the Young Bucks, and then the Good Brothers get involved, right? Like, it just, I love how AEW embraces the characters all intertwining with each other. And it's so different to me as a lifelong a lifelong WWE fan. The way that the characters interact with each other, the emotional relationships, the sagas that go on between these characters, it's so different on this show. And this was a great example of it. You got so many different characters coming in and getting interwoven with each other. Really love where they're going with this. And again, MJF, Jericho, it's like you said, even Santana, man, his little jabs at the Bucks were great. But Matt Jackson delivering that fiery promo, and it's really hard to cut babyface promos, man. Like, a lot easier to be entertaining as a bad guy. You could throw some funny one-liners and hate on people, and all of a sudden you're hitting a home run. Yeah, you throw a turkey tits in there and everybody's laughing. But to come out and to give a compelling, emotionally captivating good guy promo without becoming corny, that's tough. And so I got to give props to the Bucks. I know that they're more known for their in-ring work, but Matt's quickly becoming pretty solid on the mic, man. And he's really getting there.
Absolutely.
But we're talking about all the ramifications of the tag team championships, and although it feels like sacrilege to think that my team FTR is not in the tag team championship picture, I have to say this is an example of, just like we've talked about it with Britt and Thunder, of talent maybe not needing the tag team championships to make a feud buzzworthy, right? Like, this FTR and Jurassic Express feud has only gotten hotter and hotter and hotter and hotter as weeks have gone on, man. Like, it's gotten more emotionally intense. It's gotten much more personal. This one felt like FTR they got a lot of, I was grinning ear to ear in this match. I know that probably quite a few Jungle Boy fans out there weren't excited about this, because I felt like Jungle Boy got beat up pretty good by FTR in this match.
Hot spots too.
He did. But
he's tapped out Dax with his move, and then he tapped
Cash
out
on the outside. Yeah,
so
Cash on the outside.
Both of FTR on the floor. So he's got their number.
But let's be honest, the experience and the knowledge of FTR played a role in this match. They could have had. There were multiple moments where Jurassic Express could have had the win. You mentioned tapping out FTR on the outside. And then when they hit their finish,
Mhm.
that confusion of who was the legal man at the end that cost them. FTR, like these guys continue to be they are the gold standard for me in tag team wrestling, because not just because of what they do in the ring, but it's how smart they are. It's just that it's so evident that they are students of the game, and it's so fitting that they were paired with Tully and JJ Dillon tonight, just playing off the history of professional wrestling, utilizing that as part of their character arc, part of their character model of the respect and admiration for the people who have done it before them, actively playing a role now in their careers. That is really cool to me. As a fan of professional wrestling my whole life, and as a fan of FTR, I love seeing that manifest itself tangibly in the results of their characters and the results of their matches now. You see that respect and that student of the game mentality that FTR has actually playing a major difference in tonight's matchup. I mean, whether it was JJ Dillon giving Dax the shoe to hit him in the head, right? Or thinking one step ahead and having the surprise return of Shawn Spears, the cameraman, play a role, man. I just felt like from top to bottom, FTR shined in this match. Really was impressed. What SPD, I'll let you take it away from here. Do you think that this is the end of this feud? Because it did end in very controversial fashion, right?
I mean, let me think about it as I kind of dissect this match.
Tell me what you thought. Jump in.
This entrance was outstanding. The matching gear, the throwback belts and stuff. I loved that entrance with Tully, and he still got the swagger, man. It was really funny how I believe it was Cash was holding the ropes, to try to maybe have Tully go out and dive outside the tope suicida dive, and then he was like, no, and just did a little swagger dance, kind of Flair-esque style. So that I think FTR was that trio worked so well. They're the nasty heels and dirty players that they are. And Jungle Boy also, I think, looked strong, even though he did get beat up a lot. Jurassic Express didn't look as bad. I was surprised Luchasaurus got the pin because I'm a huge fan of Luchasaurus, and that suplex by him was great. And he's got the awesome kicks. But he didn't get enough time to shine in this match to me. He didn't get his typical usual spots that I like to see. But it was a great finish with the spike pile, the triple team spike pile driver on Lucha, which made sense. 3 guys taking down the dinosaur for sure, and the surprise entrance with Spears. It's hard. I think you could close the book on this, but where do you go with the 4 Horsemen or FTR and Spears now? It could go both ways. I think it could go both ways, where you have the addition of Spears, which he's all along been with Tully.
Yes,
he's all along, but he's just kind of been pushed to the back burner, essentially. Not by Tully, because Tully's been pushing him, and Spears has been coming up short. So, do you put a surprise entrance Spears into the ladder match to rekindle the Scorpio Sky feud?
Ooh.
Or do you have a surprise that we have not seen yet? So I think that could be a momentum builder.
I like where your head's at.
You can even have Spears, if you want to start a new feud, Spears enter it as the surprise, and FTR help them win. So that can kind of.
I don't think anybody would complain about Spears
you have
winning.
Scorpio. I don't know if Scorpio Sky is completely broken away at SCU. Then you can do FTR and Spears versus SCU with Scorpio Sky. I don't know. That could be a way to go.
The beauty of AEW is how many, dude, you just said it. You named a lot of things that make a lot of sense,
right? Given
the way that the characters have interacted and built off of things.
Right.
That Scorpio Sky Shawn Spears feud was one of the hotter feuds on Dark for quite some time, man.
Enough time. I loved it.
Yeah, I think that Spears, man. Again, dating back to when, the very beginnings of AEW, this dude has not gotten that opportunity to get that shine that I think that he deserves. Spears has got everything you look for. We talked about it with Jade checking all the boxes. Spears does the same thing, brother. This dude has gotten over and over and again. He knows how to organically get himself over. And you throw him in a potential FTR Horseman type of vibe with Tully and that crew. The sky is the limit for that dude. So I don't think that there would be anybody arguing seeing a potential like Horseman revelation basically come through and have a little bit more spotlight on these guys. I know that FTR is more than capable of carrying a main event type spot. With the backing of Shawn Spears and Tully, there's nothing that they can't do. So I'm really excited about where this could go. I personally, there's so many places that you could take Jurassic Express to. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, this was one of those matches that delivered in the ring. There was a lot of eyes on the product because everybody was geeked out to see Tully in the ring. Tully had a lot of cool moments tonight. He did. Whether it was Luchasaurus throwing Marco into Tully, or Tully getting a kick to the head from Luchasaurus. He took some spots tonight. He took a couple bumps.
The slingshot suplex he did on Marco.
When he hit that slingshot suplex, that was a thing of beauty. So there are a lot of people who had their eyes on this match. It delivered and then some. I was impressed from start to finish in this one. Absolutely this was probably my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I'll let you cut me off and transition to the next one. Or otherwise,
we're going to talk about
more people with how much I love FTR the rest of the night.
I mean, this was the two of the biggest men in the world, pretty much, Shaq, and then followed by Paul White. It was nice to finally. I mean, humongous announcement, no pun intended. I love Paul White's wits and his little comedy little things that he can jab, how he's kind of playing, his shirt said it all and the crowd was chanting it. And he's like, raise your hand if anyone saw this coming, because I personally have always thought he was a lifer for WWE. And, you have those talent that you think are lifers. I mean, like Undertaker, yes, he's going to be a lifer and is a lifer, respectable. Loyalty is a good characteristic to have for sure. And for some reason, I always thought Paul White had like a 100-year contract that he signed like a few years ago. So this was a huge surprise. And Tony and him are going to be a nice duo on the new show, Dark Elevation. And he came with some news, how he has got the inside scoop of a Hall of Famer, and we keep bouncing things back and forth off, and I was asking the Twitter universe, like, who do you think it is? People are saying possibly Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar,
I've heard
X-Pac. CM Punk would be
that would be a game changer.
More beneficial for a unannounced surprise. An announced surprise, you're kind of like, who's it going to be? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, man. It's exciting. Dude, I will say, this could have been a segment where Paul White just came out, said hello to everybody, said he was excited to be a part of AEW, and that could have been it. Right. And it could have been totally fine.
Yeah.
But the fact that the arrival of Paul White was just the footnote of this segment speaks volumes, man. Like, not only did he show up and he did a great job, you could tell very comfortable on the mic. He's such an industry veteran. The dude laughs at himself. He doesn't take himself too seriously. I think he's going to fit very, very well in the commentator's role. But the fact that his arrival was just a footnote to the bigger picture of him announcing this surprise signee who's Hall of Fame worthy.
Right.
Dude, I mean, it's got that is incredible. And what a nice use of like that surprise.
For sure.
The surprise of Paul White being on the show to then build to another bigger surprise. Just beautiful storytelling. Very smart by AEW in doing that, man. If you had to put money on it, who would be your pick?
Man, I would like to see Kurt Angle. I mean, I didn't even think of that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Listening to an interview with Wardlow, he said that him and Kurt Angle trained a lot, and so there's already some kind of talent relations there. And I don't think Kurt is a lifer type of guy. I think he's just a fan of the business.
Yep.
And so, what about you?
Kurt's a great answer. I've also seen people buzzing on Twitter wondering if it could be a female talent, like a Lita, like a Trish Stratus, somewhere like that. And that would be a buzzworthy thing. I don't know, man. That's a real tough call.
Right.
That we'll be having eyes glued
for sure
to the TV revolution, because we can't. I mean, that's going to be exciting. I know that there's been a lot of conversation about will it be a legend. I personally would love it if it was somebody who could contribute in the ring.
I agree. Me too.
That's what I would want. So I know that there's been names tossed around about Jeff Cobb and things like that. I don't know who it will be, but I personally would love to see somebody who could actually use this big announcement to help transform the landscape in the ring in AEW. I would love that. So we'll see what happens, man. I definitely will be geeked out about that. Maybe no other segment tonight set up Revolution quite like that as far as buzz moment, other than this culmination of the women's tournament. We got to see Nyla Rose versus Rio. And the winner of this gets to face Sheeta at Revolution. So, there was a lot on the line tonight.
Yeah, there was a lot.
Weeks and weeks of content. SPD, I know you were firmly on Team USA. What were your thoughts on this match?
I was surprised by the finish. But at the same time, it's nice that we're not going to be getting a rematch of a recent match and kind of like a fresh match. This, to me, unfortunately, the booking of this tournament, I know we've talked about this, wasn't the way that we would book it. Obviously, we're fans, not bookers, but to elevate a division, I don't think this is the way they should have gone. Nothing against Rio or Nyla. Both showed up tonight in a good way. They had a great match. And Rio, I think, looked the best in her tournament here in U.S. soil. Versus, all the stuff she did on the Japan side of the tournament. So I think Rio was looked really good, but I'm still not on board. Like we talked about last time, how the showboating. This is a tournament for the number one contender. There is a time and a place to
dance and
dance, and sing and run around, which I'm all for. A lot of those gimmicks I've always been huge fans of the funniest, ridiculous gimmicks in the match. The Orange Cassidy, the slow kicks with the crowd. Oh, hands in pockets. Like, I'm all for that. But if Orange Cassidy was in a finals to be a number one contender for a world title or TNT, I feel like he should be taking it much more serious and be just dialed in. We saw that dialed in with Thunder Rosa in her match. Like, she was like pure focus against Nyla. And that's the way it should be, in my opinion. Rio coming out on top was a surprise. It really establishes another dominant woman in the division. So I think that's a win in that part. Mm-hmm. She had some good moments. All her leg drops are pretty brutal. And, props to Nyla, because for being that big of a wrestler, she can sell really well as a big.
That's rare.
You really. We saw some great selling out of her. And so she really showcased the opposite side of the coin, because it takes two to tell a story in wrestling, or 4 or 6 or whatever. It's not a single one person. It's hard to tell a story with just one person. So both, winner, loser, heel, face, regardless, it worked. They worked well together. But it was a surprise. And I was happy to see a little bit of, turmoil at the end between Sheeta and Rio. I think Sheeta is going to come out on top of this. I still think the momentum's on her side, and which is kind of it's okay, because Sheeta's run has been kind of hit or miss due to COVID and talent level, and she hasn't really been able to defend too much recently. At the same time, this tournament should have been essentially crowning a new champion, and that's what we were hoping for out of Britt or Thunder, or even Nyla or Rio, or someone dethroning the champion, just to inject fresh blood into the women's division. So For storytelling purposes and for the tournament coming to an end, I'll have to give this match an elite.
An elite.
I will just because.
Wow, I was expecting you to
generous-
make it easier on me because I'm giving this a delete. I was expecting SPD, the resident women's division critic, to make it easier on me.
But I'm seeing, like I said, I'm trying to see the light in this, and it would be easy to book Nyla as the winner of this and move on. But like I said, you established a new fresh face. I mean, we've seen her before, but a lot of people have not seen her. So I think in that part, I'm looking at it as the big picture. This by far was not the best match of the tournament.
No.
I think far from it.
Yeah,
like I said,
not close.
Not components. All of Thunder matches were A+. Britt Baker had A+ matches. And I don't know what to say. Serena Deeb and Rio, that should have been the finals, in my opinion.
I'm glad that you talked about this this match as much as you did, because we can transition very quickly. I will say it's a delete. This did not feel like the tournament finals at all to me.
Right.
Just did not have that feel whatsoever. Did not carry the urgency. Did not represent I don't know. It did to me. It did
better not on TV just because of such a stacked show. It didn't really do, even though it had extremely high stakes at hand. Title shot.
Yeah, no, I mean, I understand getting this on the go home show, because we're gonna see now Riho versus Shida. And I get this has Kenny Omega's fingerprints all over the tournament now. It makes so much sense, knowing his role in the women's division, knowing his thought process. The dude loves Joshi wrestlers. If you follow Kenny's career, you know that he loves the Japanese scene. Everybody has different taste. I'm just not there. I guess I'm not that guy. I'm definitely more in the Thunder Rosa, the Britt Baker.
Yep,
I like the American side of this tournament. To me, I was like, man, my jaw was dropped, brother. I loved Ty Conti. I think her upside is incredible. Serena Deeb, like you mentioned, I think that Serena Deeb, Riho. There's so many talented people on that side, and the way that the contrasts and styles, to me, again, I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying, as a fan, I like the more serious sense of urgency that comes with what I'm seeing out of the American side of the tournament. I understand, even when you see the post-match antics between Rio and Shida, I thought that there were some hints that maybe Crayfish might have to eat his words at Revolution, that those two were throwing some stiff shots after the match. So if that match mimics the post-match stuff that we saw tonight, where you saw some stiff strikes, because again, I've always said, Shida's gotten a lot of slack from a lot of folks, and I've always kind of stood up for her in the sense that, dude, Shida, when she's in the ring, bro, she throws some stiff strikes. I like her offense. I think that Shida can really deliver some powerful stuff. So if you get Rio and Shida throwing shots like they did tonight, I will gladly say that it turned out to be a worthwhile endeavor. But I feel like this would
say I'm way. At this point, I'm way more excited for the new announcement: Thunder Rosa and Rio versus Britt Baker and Reba. If Reba can't go, Britt is going to choose her own opponent. Which, just thinking about it, I think you throw in someone like Penelope Ford, that would be a really exciting match. So that, to me, is a much more exciting match, in my opinion. But I'm challenging Shida and Rio to prove me wrong.
Yeah,
prove me wrong that this should be on Revolution versus the pre-show. So I'm excited to see what's in store, what kind of storytelling that they're going to tell. because I know anytime Thunder and Britt get in a ring, and this will be a nice blend of tag team, it's going to be an outstanding match. And so please, Shida and Rio, prove me wrong that you deserve this. I mean, they do deserve it, yes, but prove me wrong to have a show-stealing match.
I think again, like if they show that intensity that we saw at post-match, then we're in store for some good stuff. I'll give this, like you talked about, SPD, Nyla, before we transition to the next segment.
Yeah.
Nyla, the division is better with Nyla in a feature role. Now,
yes,
she doesn't necessarily, she needs to be able to make some room for some stars that have kind of started to really establish themselves while she has been on the back burner of late, right? I mean, the Thunder Rosas, the Britt Bakers, the Ty Contis, Serena Deebs, those types of talents do need to have, they need to be focused on as well. They need to have their place in the women's division, and that's a good problem to have. Yep. But as a fan, I will say, although I was disappointed in some, and I'm not alone, I was disappointed in the way that this tournament played out in some ways. The match quality consistently throughout this tournament was very high. And Nyla, especially for such a big, strong athlete, she doesn't, like you talked about it, she does a great job of selling for her opponents. You very rarely see the big hoss characters make their opponents look as good as Nyla does. So I have to give her credit for that, and I can understand maybe why she was pushed in this way, because Rio slaying the native beast certainly gives her a lot of credibility heading into this match with Shida. So I can understand that. And Nyla doesn't lose any heat losing that match. I mean, she looked great. She looked dominant in this tournament. I just didn't feel like this, although again, I just didn't feel like this match felt like the culmination of a tournament to me. It didn't hit in that regard. So we'll see what happens at Revolution. Out of all the matches, this one I know that a lot of people are kind of not so hot on the Miro match. I actually loved Miro's promo tonight. I thought that Miro showed that intensity that I'm excited for. This match, Shida versus Rio, is the one that got a lot to prove to me, and I'm looking forward to it because I think that they're capable of it. But we'll see what happens. That's all we can say.
That's for sure, and I agree, man. But it wouldn't be a Dynamite leading up to Revolution if we didn't see Sting and Team Taz in some form, and this was a perfect way to do it. We've seen time and time again promos, cuts, and interruptions, but we got a little bit of a different taste, and we got to see more action from Sting, saying how that he is ready for a fight. It was a passionate promo from Sting, absolutely. And then we got a little bit of change of pace when we got to see my man Ricky Starks come out in there spitting some fire as well. He's matching Sting's fire, and then he got physical with him for sure. So it was pretty funny because the funny part of it was that I was saying Sting knocked the socks off of Ricky Starks. Starks' shoes, where he wasn't wearing socks, got flipped around, and he was just flopping all over around. And then you get the Scorpion Deathlock, the Stinger Splash, all the favorites from Sting. And of course, Team Taz comes to the rescue. To me, Hobbs didn't even come in the ring, man. Is he scared of the Icon Sting or what? Because he was just reaching for Starks. He was reaching, and then you get Hobbs in there, come in and put a chokehold on Sting. So I thought we got two fire promos from Sting and Starks, two main guys involved in the street fight, and then a tease of a powerbomb, and then Darby coming to the rescue as well. So this was a great, quick segment that really gets you hyped up for this match. It was the first match announced at Revolution, it feels like months ago. And so it has gained even more momentum than the initial announcement, in my opinion. So I'm really excited for this one. It was great setup and well done for sure. And I'm just laughing about the whole, socks and everything.
Oh gosh, Cage's pants almost came off today.
Yes.
Everybody was getting Team Taz. They were getting just slop shop. They were getting beaten up, getting tossed around, getting embarrassed. This was a good one though, man. I think, last week's segment to me was like the culmination of the build. It felt like last week's segment was executed so perfectly with Darby coming from the rafters, just how beautifully executed that was. It was hard to follow up on that, but I think that this was done really well.
Yeah.
Ricky Starks we've been clamoring for Starks to get more shine. I know that resident head writer Bonds loves Taz, just loves him some Taz. But we here at Dynamite Download all think that Ricky Starks, and we're not, I mean, obviously, this is, you could be a blind man and still see that Ricky Starks is a star. Ricky had the opportunity to go out on the mic by himself tonight and carry a promo against one of the best in the history of this business. So I thought that he showed well. The match itself, not the match, but the physicality itself was just enough to get us excited, like further for this matchup. The AEW this has been a slow build, like you talked about. We are ready. We are ready to see what is going to happen in a street fight setting. We've seen now Sting more than hold his own. He's taken bumps, right? He got a vicious power bomb from Brian Cage. But he's more than held his own when it comes to the physicality. I mean, dude, doing that Stinger splash, bro. He gets some elevation still, brother. I mean, that's a thing of beauty. So we've seen what he can do now. I'm excited to see what they're gonna bring out in a street fight. How intense and how violent, and how well done. I think you and I both have said, whether it's the street fight with Santana Ortiz versus the Best Friends, there's been countless examples of, AEW kind of having a non-traditional, the bunkhouse match is another example, but just non-traditional match and AEW doing it well, playing up, building emotions in that match. And we believe that Darby and Sting's creativity combined with the athleticism, the power of Brian Cage, the natural, smooth charisma of a Ricky Starks, that match is going to be a fun one to watch for AEW fans. I think that one's going to be a blast. But I mean, a match that I think is the least predictable and maybe is the dark horse to steal the show is that Face of the Revolution match. And we got to see an awesome qualifier tonight in the sense that, man, you got two guys that are young, great build. Both have their trajectory is going nowhere but up, right? I mean, we think that 10 is clearly shaping up to be a breakout star of the Dark Order. Yep. We've talked to Alex Reynolds and John Silver in the past. Both those guys agree that 10's got that solo superstar aura around him, and they're all just kind of waiting for him to break out. It turns out that tonight was not his night to get that opportunity, to get that shot, because Max Caster was more than happy to take that cheap win off the heels of my guy, dirtbag Jack Evans, cracking 10 in the skull with the boombox. It was absolutely a thing of beauty. 10, unfortunately, was because he's a part of the Dark Order. He's in Matt Hardy's sights, and he felt the wrath of Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy upped the ante with Jack Evans, gave him $4,200. That's big money, bro.
Big money, Matt, for a reason.
Big money, Matt. So, what did you think about the way this match built? Obviously, dude, like we watched Dark. Max Caster and Bowens, their rap battle, that rap on Dark was sick. Nice. And Caster had kind of like a couple lines tonight in his live rap that had people going, "Ooh, damn!"
He called out -1 too.
He got -1 fired up. Yeah,
I'm definitely coming along to the Acclaim's match builds for sure. I mean, with the Inner Circle was gold, A+, for sure. Yep. And then last night on Dark was a pleasant surprise, a great music video, calling out 10 and mocking 10. And then, coming to the ring today. So it was, -1 is starting to get more and more of a in-ring gear, which is pretty cool. He's got his own custom mask. And then he's, that bond between 10 and -1 is really special too. So hopefully we'll get to talk to 10 more in depth about that down the line, because I'd love to hear how that like big brother, little brother kind of bond is forming and developing. And him on commentary is on Dark and some of the matches is great. But, speaking of commentary, Scorpio Sky, which is a pleasant surprise seeing him on Dynamite, which he's going to be, obviously in this ladder match. It's hard to see because it seemed he was kind of like acting a little heelish on commentary.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah, dude. He had some
Scorpio would
confidence,
be
some
pretty
arrogance.
nice to see. He's like, put the camera back on me, and things like that. So I like that. So I really enjoyed that part, that little added twist to it, which made sense. Who else is going to be in my match essentially? So he's going to be scouting them. Of course, 10 had some great spots. I liked the top turnbuckle, the 10 count punches, and then a massive spine buster. Like I said before, 10 and Jade, you're going to battle for the spine busters here in AEW.
Yup,
So,
no doubt.
They could be a next mixed tag, do a double spine buster. So that would be pretty cool. But yeah, TH2, it was a little bummer when we found out that that match that got scrapped, because we were really excited to see Private Party and TH2 work together, because those two teams are just so exciting on their own. So if they were working together on the same side, but to have this continuation storyline of the debt collectors for Matt Hardy, it was a swerve that I did not see coming, honestly. I know Matt's out to get the Dark Order, and I completely did not even think of him interfering or doing anything in this match. It was a huge swerve. Great visual of him handing him, Jack Evans the money at the end. This match was and is a showcase of the fresh faces, the upcoming stars. 10 and Caster are very new to television and AEW and the business. And the future is bright in many reasons, and these guys are definitely part of it, because they have so much potential ahead of them, and the star power with those two guys is through the roof.
And for two very different reasons, right? I mean, 10 has got such a look to him. The dude is so dedicated to, like, you could tell. I mean, dedicated to his diet, dedicated to his workout routine. The dude's physicality in the ring is on point. But he's more of that star because we see untapped potential, and he's got that. When it comes to being in the ring, his power, his set of power moves is quickly becoming something that you look forward to watching. And when he gets those opportunities to have those showcases, his power moves are always a lot of fun to watch. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you got a guy like Max Caster who, his matches are always, they're good. They're always rock solid. But to me, Caster shines because of that personality. He's so smart. He's so creative, incredibly witty and funny, and his lines are hitting harder and harder. He's got that kind of that personality for days, right? Yeah. Where so they just seem like very different ends of the spectrum. Where you got 10, who's a little bit more in-ring work, more look and physique build. That you see a potential star in that, versus a guy like Caster, who is obviously just, over the top personality for days, right? So two totally different stars, but two very welcome additions to AEW, and I think that long term have a lot of potential in this business. So it was nice to see both of these guys in a singles match too. I mean, Caster, we've been used to seeing Caster and Bowens kind of doing their tag team thing with the Acclaim, but really like seeing that. I feel like this was kind of a swerve. I think most people, if they're putting their money on this match, I think most people would have put their money on 10. But to me, seeing the way it came out, I think that this is going to lead to a quite an amazing ladder match at Revolution. I can't wait to talk to you about that on our pre-show. Because I know that you love yourself some Lance Archer, but man, there are quite a few competitors in this match that could realistically take it. You couldn't blame AEW if they ultimately did decide to put it on Caster. We just watched a swerve. We watched a surprise for him to get into this one. A guy with that kind of personality, that kind of swagger, being the face of the Revolution certainly could happen, but anybody in that match, that's the thing of beauty. I mean, Scorpio Sky, with his personality and commentator, I mean, he felt very comfortable in that role. You could tell the podcast game is helping him. he certainly felt very confident and comfortable going into this one. So I don't know where you put your who's the odds-on favorite to win it, but this was certainly a great addition.
Murder Hawk, Lance Archer, man.
I know.
But like I said before, with the ladder match, you can have anyone steal it and not have any damage to any other performer.
That's right. And even Scorpio even kind of hinted towards that, right? I mean, he was like saying, you put any of these guys in a one-on-one match with me and I'll beat them. But the ladder match kind of it's the great equalizer. I mean, anybody can sneak out a W. Yeah,
it would have been fun to have 10 in there because you could maybe have him done a spine buster off the ladder. Then you have Cody and 10, which they, team together. They could do some cool tag team stuff. Obviously, Penta's just going to be unreal. But, pulling it back the curtain, I talked about this on our Friday night show. If Hobbs was involved and then taking the win to kind of tie it all together to bring it back to the whole Darby feud could be an option. Or two, the last contender, which is the surprise, could be this Hall of Fame worthy opponent, which could be SPD, aka Rob Van Dam, the whole effing show, because he has done amazing stuff off ladders and would be pure entertainment. You have Penta, who is going to do some crazy stuff off the ladder. I'm sure Scorpio. Cody will take a high spot. Scorpio, Lance is just going to be absolutely just massive and brutal. Yep. So if you throw in a person like,
dude, if you had RVD,
I think he would be a great addition.
Yeah.
Oh man, so I'm excited. So that would be
I like Caster's addition though, because when you look at the landscape of this match, and you don't have really any like dastardly heels in this one. Yeah, you have Scorpio's leaning more into that. We saw tonight on commentary, but you don't really have anybody who's a true heel in that match. And Caster plays that role where, if you need somebody to push over the ladder and cost the babyface the shot, he's a perfect guy for that. I feel like this was a great play off of that. You need that true heel that people hate. Although everybody loves the Acclaimed, you need that. But dude, I would totally get down with having RVD if he's the surprise guy. That's a great call too. That's a Hall of Fame worthy dude right there, no doubt. Love that idea. Speaking of Hall of Fame worthy people, I mean, Matt Hardy, this dude has created quite a career for himself, reinvented himself over and over again. But man, tonight was another dude. This role that he's in right now. He's starting. You can tell he's leaning up a little bit. He's lost a little bit of weight. You could tell his in-ring work is getting better. But man, his charisma, he's so funny. What a pro he is. What did you think about this match, man? Because this was kind of a late pivot that we were expecting to be a little bit different tonight's show. Like we talked about TH2 not making the cut in this one. Now it was a little bit more focused. What do you think about this one?
I mean, it's really nice to see Hangman, happy and comfortable and smiling. And, he's got a little bit more pep to his step, essentially, in the ring, in my opinion. He went through the phase down in the dumps, alone at the bar and, no one there. And then ever since this whole Dark Order pitch and Dark Order still on his side, you can see that he's really riding high and new confidence in him, and it's really fun to watch. And obviously Silver we're very high on. We love seeing him in the ring. He was running at 100 miles per hour today, and his kicks, his suplexes, and just everything. He was moving so fast.
Yeah.
And same with Hardy, man. That guy was on fire, man. He was so smart in the ring. He's very methodical. He knows where to place things. And it was just a great way to end the show with all the chaos at the end. But, when they announced that this was the main event, I was like, this is the main event. That's kind of surprising, but it made complete sense at the end where you have, he interfered with the 10 match and then leading up to this, that whole last segment booking, the last 30 minutes booking all tied together very smartly.
It did.
And JR made a good point. We haven't seen Mark Quinn in a few weeks, travel issues and stuff, but he did look a little bit bigger. Mark Quinn seems almost to be putting on a little bit of size. So that's pretty, that's nice to see that as well. But I like the pacing of this match. I love that they picked Silver in there and then Dark Order coming out at the end and then all hell breaking loose with the tag teams coming out too. So, I have to get, the pairing of Silver and Hangman, I was really excited for, and it was exciting. And to me, it was an elite pairing, and it was an elite match. These guys, I'm going to throw up the photo of them hugging because it's a great photo of these two guys, Silver and Hangman. It's like, you know, a guy finally, you know, he's crushing on Hangman. I mean, he went on one knee for Hangman, and finally they're partners, and it's like
dreams come true.
Yeah, dreams come true. Hangman doesn't know what to think of it, and Hungy is feeding his appetite for sure with Hangman.
I gotta say, like, you know, we've talked at length about how entertaining the Dark Order is, and especially Johnny and the recruitment specialist. But dude, he does not get enough credit for that offense that you just talked about. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because man, he was like a ball of fire in this one, man. Just and pairing him with Hangman is such a great pairing. He fits like a glove, because Hangman's offense is so hard hitting. I mean, Hangman throws. We talked about. We go back and like watch some of Hangman's stuff over the course of his career here in AEW. The confidence is starting to grow again, and it's starting to show in his in-ring work, man. Just that power that all his moves, man. He throws his weight into some of those like clotheslines, and those lariats.
Does he ever?
Man, he likes to push the pace, like John, like Silver does. And so that teamwork right there, man, I love what a fit those two had. I mean, that tandem offense, if you go back and watch this match, when they're on the offensive, this match felt like it was elevated that much more. Now, again, I think that I've said it from the beginning of watching Private Party. I think Mark Queen is he was the start, the more polished of the two of Private Party to me. I thought that he was the natural star. Now, again, I've been proven, man, Isaiah Cassidy has been awesome. I mean, you and I have both talked about, dude, he's been absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And since turning heel, you could tell that's exactly what this team needed to kind of get them over the hump. So no slight on Mark and Matt, but watching Silver and Hangman operate, it was a blast to see them, like, just how fast and the fluid their moves are, man. It was like from a kick into a suplex. I mean, it was just nonstop, bro. Yeah. Really, really was impressed. I loved the way that this match played out. The post-match antics were exactly what needed to happen. Got Matt Hardy to get the heat back on him, you know, as far as instantly going to beat up and do cheap shots on the Hangman. Yep. Promising that he's going to win at Revolution. And then all of that devolving naturally, you know, the Dark Order running out to help make the save. And then, you know, more and more people running out and out. And then you see this chaos play out at the end. Just a great way. You know, that's the type of stuff, like when you build to a pay-per-view, you're getting all these, you see like, AEW is giving so many wrestlers an opportunity to shine at this pay-per-view. Right. And that end of the show was a great way to do it. Obviously, I was geeked out to see Phoenix and Pac run out. Yeah. That was awesome. A nice little addition to that matchup. I think that played off well off of what we saw earlier in the night. And that's a characteristic of AEW television. They always do a nice job of playing off of what we've seen before. So big fan of this show tonight. It was a home run show going into the next one. This match was an elite. Really the only delete of the night for me was the women's culmination, the women's tournament. And that was just because of I think the bar that was set so high earlier on in the tournament. But going into Revolution, I have a feeling it might be one of those shows where SPD and Crayfish got all elites across the board. We don't know. I mean, we cannot wait to talk about it with the team in our special edition. On the night,
though, first,
let's do it.
To finish that, you know, my top performer was the one I've been anticipating and anxiously awaiting her debut was Jade, and she completely delivered, man. She looked like an absolute superhero, superstar. She's got it. And we were, of course, there's a little bit of nerves being, wondering if they can fulfill those shoes and those standards that we've been really the anticipation. And she absolutely delivered. She looked comfortable in the ring.
Yep.
Her pacing was good. Her moves were polished. Her strength was on point. Her cockiness and was on point too to play to her heel character. So I said it. I tweeted out to us. I was like, "Is anyone else grinning ear to ear with a star we're seeing before our eyes with Jade?" And she is a star blossoming before our eyes right here. And what's next for her? I just can't wait. Just show up, please. Do something.
No, brother, I was torn between Jade and FTR, and looking at the way this show kind of goes, brother, I'll say I agree with you. I think that Jade really is the star of tonight's show. I think that this was such a huge debut for her. We've talked about this time and again in the past when expectations are high and you not only meet them but exceed them, that's a whole nother level, man. That to me is a great pick by you. And I think that AEW's really got something special on their hands with her. I think that's an awesome pick. I picked FTR because as the resident tag team guy, as an FTR fanboy myself, I felt like this was a great showcase of who they are. We talk about, this show has so many moving parts. The tag team division in particular is so stacked.
For sure.
This was one of those matches and one of those showcases that really identified and cemented this is who FTR is. Just very smartly fought match. More than happy to play on the heel underhanded tactics of the great ones of the past, integrated in the past and the present and the future with, Tully and JJ Dillon, and then having their current state of like this current feud of FTR, and then the potential future of what we could see with the new Horsemen. I just think that there was a lot of meat on the bone for us fans to chew on with that segment and that match. And that's going to be, the biggest takeaways from tonight's show for me is this. I've been wanting to see, because Tully was the manager of Spears and FTR. I was wanting to see those two finally start to interweave with each other. Yeah, tonight we saw that, and I think that well done. Cannot wait to see where it goes from here, and that's a stable that could have some real power behind it and could really change the landscape of AEW. So I cannot blame you for picking Jade from a star making moment. Absolutely delivered. I think that when you talk about the potential reformation of the Horsemen, doesn't get bigger than that in professional wrestling. And that's why I had to pick FTR. I thought they absolutely delivered and then some tonight.
No, and even, we got a comment while our show was going on. And if you have, FTR feud with Scorpio Sky because of the whole ladder match thing, and then SCU, and then you have, Kazarian turn on SCU to join to be the fourth Horseman or something like that. I don't know. The storylines they're limitless, but we're going to dive in deep to AEW Revolution on Friday Night Flights and Fights this Friday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live. We're going to kick things off with our preview show. We're each going to come with our predictions, and we're going to go match by match and break down our predictions and the way we want to book it as well. So make sure to tune into that on our YouTube channel. And of course, follow us on all our social channels. On Twitter, we're interacting all day, every day, AEW Dynamite DL. Instagram, you'll get a lot of show previews, Dynamite Download, and then Spotify, of course. That's where you're going to be able to listen to our podcast. If you're on the go, at the gym, driving, you can definitely check out our podcast audibly as well with all of our interviews too. So we are excited. This is a jam-packed week here at Dynamite Download. Is a jam-packed week for Dynamite. I mean, they're doing another dark show on Friday. And then on Sunday, we have Revolution kicking off early with just a new buy-in match announced. So come on, join us on Friday night, 10 p.m. Friday Night Flights and Fights. Grab your cold one, talk with us. We're going to do Revolution show, and then we're going to have some fun afterwards. We break down that card and see how long that takes. But that's always
must see. It's such a joy. We always have a blast with you guys out there. Make sure you share it. Get more people involved. It's always a blast. Cannot wait to talk to you. This has been a huge week as AEW fans. So cannot wait to talk to you guys all week on Twitter and social, and we'll see you on Friday.
Thanks for tuning in.